Now, when people talk about the greatest rap groups of all time, Bone Thugs and Harmony is always in the conversation. Their harmonies, their melodic flows, their lightning fast delivery, and their storytelling completely changed the sound of hip hop during the 1990s. They've sold millions of records. They've won Grammys. They've worked with legends like Eazy-E, Tupac, Biggie, Mariah Carey, and many, many others. But with that success came plenty of controversy and rumors. Did they really invent their own style? Or did they steal it? Why wasn't Flesh and Bone on every album? What really happened while recording Thug Love? And why did they have a beef with Tupac? What happened to Shatasha, the female who sang the unforgettable hook on Thuggish Ruggish Bone? And where did those rumors about devil worship even come from? We're going to cover all that today in our interview with Krayzie Bone. Before the platinum albums and worldwide fame, Bone Thugs and Harmony were just 5 dudes from Cleveland, East 99, trying to escape poverty through music. Busy, lazy, crazy, wish, and flesh. What made them different from almost everyone else was the way they approached rapping. Instead of simply trading verses, they blended their melodies, their harmonies. They sounded like another instrument. It sounded completely different from what most rap fans had ever heard. That unique sound eventually caught the attention of Eazy-E. They signed with Ruthless, and overnight they became a sensation. But years later, some people began asking a controversial question. Did Bone Thugs really invent that style? One debate that's been floating around hip-hop for years is whether Bone borrowed their melodic style from the Los Angeles underground group Freestyle Fellowship. I asked Krayzie Bone directly about those comparisons. What are your thoughts on people saying Bone Thugs and Harmony stole their style, stole their flow from LA rap collective Freestyle Fellowship? Have you ever heard that?
No. I've never. Who is that anyway? I don't even know who that is.
This debate has gone on for decades. Freestyle Fellowship, dope group, was incredibly respected back in LA. Micah 9, Self Jupiter, Peace, all those dudes. They were also known for complex rhyme patterns, their jazz influences, their unconventional flows, and their vocal experimentation long before Bone became famous. Because of that, some critics have argued that Bone Thugs adopted pieces of that style. Others, like myself, completely disagree. As someone who's studied hip-hop, who knows hip-hop, not saying that other people don't, but just because they both rap fast doesn't mean that one stole the other's style. I don't see similarities at all, and I never have. And no diss to Freestyle Fellowship, they're legends, but I think that argument that Bone came out and stole their style is not one that I'm rocking with. But once Creepin' on a Come Up dropped, everything changed for Bone Thugs and Harmony. I remember when this album came out, Thuggish Ruggish Bone exploded. It was played everywhere. It was on the box. It was on MTV. It was everywhere. The album became one of the biggest rap albums of the decade. They were suddenly superstars. But fans also started noticing something. After their first album, after their second album, one member wasn't appearing nearly as often as everyone else. Flesh and Bone. There were always rumors about why Flesh wasn't featured on every Bone Thugs project. Some fans blame legal troubles. Others pointed towards personal struggles. I asked Krayzie to explain what was really happening behind the scenes with Flesh and Bone. Can you tell us about Flesh and Bone and why he wasn't around more in the beginning of the Ruthless days?
Yeah, well, man, you know, at that time, Flesh was going through like a lot of mental issues at the time, man. You know what I'm saying? He was dealing with mental illness. You know what I'm saying? Before he was even called that. You know what I'm saying? But he was treated with being arrested and thrown in jail and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody understand what's going on. Even we didn't understand what was going on. But you know, he had a lot of run-ins with authorities when he got out here, and they became very familiar with him. And like, so like, it just so happened every time we had something major to do, like shoot a video or do a photo shoot or like do a single, he was never around because he was like either incarcerated or in a mental facility. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he missed out on a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it got to a point where Eazy and everybody kind of backed up, and they was like, you know, okay, y'all deal with him, this y'all people, y'all deal with him, and they just kind of backed up. But you know, he went through a lot. You know what I'm saying? He had to go down and sit down for 10 years. You know, that woke him up a lot. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing great now, for real.
Flesh and Bone has always been one of the most unique members of Bone Thugs. He actually released an album that, to this day, I bump. It's a really, really good album. He had a deep voice, and he just really brought something different to the Bone sound. But his appearances became inconsistent. I mean, legal issues played a role. He served a lengthy prison sentence. But as Krayzie explains, there were also personal struggles that many fans didn't fully understand. Mental health wasn't something artists openly discussed back then. Today, conversations about mental illness are much more common, and many fans have a greater appreciation for what people behind the scenes may have been dealing with. Despite all of those challenges, Flesh remains an important part of Bone Thugs and Harmony. Before Bone Thugs and Tupac made one of the greatest collaborations in hip-hop history, there was actually a misunderstanding between them. By the mid-90s, Tupac had fully embraced the word thug. It wasn't just a nickname, it had become part of his identity. He famously had Thug Life, obviously tattooed across his stomach, and he had built an entire philosophy around the term, saying it stood for the hate you give little infants F's everybody. Tupac Thug represented survival, resilience, and growing up in a difficult world. So when he first heard about a group called Bone Thugs and Harmony, there was reportedly some tension. According to members of Bone, Tupac initially wondered who these guys were that were using the word thugs in their name and questioned whether they were trying to capitalize on the image that he had already made famous.
I know people looking on TV, they going, wait a minute, didn't I already hear a group called Thug something? I already heard about some kind of thug something on TV. Who is Thug Life? But this the original. We are the original thugs.
Fortunately, instead of letting rumors turn into a real feud, they actually sat down and talked. Once they met face to face, Pac realized Bone wasn't trying to imitate him or steal his identity. They had been using the name Bone Thugs before becoming nationally famous, and both sides quickly developed a mutual respect. What could have turned into another famous rap beef instead became the beginning of a friendship. That understanding eventually led to Thug Love, a collaboration that many fans still consider one of the hardest hip-hop records ever made. I wanted to hear the story directly from Krayzie Bone about what really happened between Bone Thugs and Tupac over the word thug. Let's hear what he had to say. What's the story behind Pac having a brief beef with Bone Thugs and Harmony? He felt he was the leader of the thug movement, and he felt some type of way about your group named Bone Thugs and Harmony. Can you tell us what you remember about that specifically?
Oh yeah. I think he made mention of that one time on The Box, on that TV show, when he was like, "Who was these thuggish workers? Bone? We laid down the bricks to this thug shit," and we instantly wanted to fight. Instantly, we was like, "What? Okay, we got to see you too." You know what I'm saying? So it was like, we was like, because like we had been like calling ourselves thugs way before we got on with Eazy, like way before we got on with Eazy, even on our, you know what I'm saying, like on our earlier projects. So it was just like, but that was the youngness in us, man. Like to think like we had to retaliate on something like that. But it all got mended, like, you know what I'm saying, when Pac came home, man, and it was just all out the door. Like it just wasn't an issue for some reason. And we moved past that and ended up doing a song, one of the greatest songs in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It was a wonderful thing.
Oh, everybody Bone. Krayzie Bone, Lazy Bone. Where the Bone come in at?
Yeah, that's like the family name. That's why everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Does
Like,
stand for something?
yeah, well, Bone stood for beating on niggas every day, butted out niggas every day, brewed out niggas every day, and brothers on normal elimination.
One of the most iconic collaborations in hip-hop history has to be Thug Love. When Tupac joined Bone Thugs, it felt like two completely different worlds colliding. Pac already had unmatched intensity. Bone had unmatched speed and harmony. The result became one of the most memorable songs of the era, but recording that song wasn't exactly ordinary. I wanted to know what it was like actually being in the studio with Tupac while creating Thug Love. Here's Krayzie Bone telling the story himself. Were you guys in the studio with Pac while you made Thug Love?
Yeah, Busy was in the studio with him. We only ran into him a few times, you know what I'm saying? Like the first time we ran into him was when he just got out, you know what I'm saying? He was telling us, he was like, man, I just want to let y'all know like that when I was incarcerated, I played that Crossroads every day, the original version of Crossroads, not the remix. He was like, I played the original one like every morning in my cell. I was like, bro, that's dope. And then from that point, every time we saw him, he was like, yo, we need to do something. And then they saw each other and it finally happened.
If you had to rate one, Krayzie, Thug Love or a Notorious Thugs, what's your all-time favorite?
Man, I never judged those two songs because they both great, but I do tell people, you know what I'm saying, I love Biggie. That's my brother for life, but I just resonated more with what Tupac was speaking about.
Were you in the gang when you were in Ohio?
No.
What kept you out of a gang in Ohio?
Man, just music. And I was, you know what I'm saying, like the whole gang and mafia thing was like, you know what I'm saying, you can't get out when you want to. I'm like, man, I'm not about to get to some niggas gonna tell me when and when I can't step out. I'm like, I'm ready to leave. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was, and man, I was always into music anyway. I mean, we ran the streets, but it was always like us and maybe 2 or 3 more cats that ran with us. You know what I'm saying? But our circle was always small, and we was always taking on a bunch of niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, always taking on a bunch of niggas. Always. Like when we first came out here, you know, I know them. Like I was nervous. Like after seeing all the movies, and I was like, man, we finna go out here and get killed. I'm like, for one, because we dressed just like them, we got braids, nigga, they gonna think we from there. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so we about to go out here and get into some trouble. But it was so crazy when we came out here, man. We got rolled up on so many times. Like niggas like, where y'all from? Da-da-da-da. But it was the grace of God, we got a pass every time.
Let's talk about the song that started it all, Thuggish Ruggish Bone. When this song was introduced to the world, millions and millions of people flocked. A lot of people changed up their styles. Everyone had a Bone song on their album because everything about them and everything about this song stood out. The harmonies, the melodies, the rapid fire verses, and of course, the unforgettable hook. It's the Thuggish Ruggish Bone. It's simple, but so powerful. But many fans have wondered over the years, whatever happened to the female who sang that hook? Shatasha. I asked Krayzie Bone about making Thuggish Ruggish Bone and Shatasha and how that whole thing came about. Let's hear his answer. Can you tell us about old girl that sung the hook for Thuggish Ruggish Bone? Her voice set the perfect tone for that song, and I don't know if the song would have been as popular without her. Shatasha?
Yeah, Shatasha. Man, that's the homegirl, man. You know, it's crazy how we even like how she even got on the song. Like we was actually at the studio recording the song. We were out in Hawthorne, and we was out there, and we was actually standing outside like smoking Black and Miles, and she was walking down the street, and she was like, "What's that place inside there?" We was like, "That's a recording studio." She was like, "Oh, I can sing," and she just started. We was like, "Okay, if you can sing this," and then like she started singing the hook to Thuggish Ruggish Bone, and we was like, "Yo, come inside here and do this." And Eazy was he was in there in the studio, and he's just like, "Who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is this? Why bring this bitch up in here like that?" We like, "Hey, like listen to her sing, bro. Listen to her." And she sung this shit, and Eazy was like, Eazy told who was Donovan?
Yeah, Donovan.
Eazy told Donovan, he was like, "Yo, record her right now." And like she went in the booth and recorded, and that's how we met her, and that's how we got the hook.
As Bone Thugs became one of the biggest groups in America, rumors started spreading, and probably because they helped them spread. Some people claimed they worshipped the devil. The Ouija board. You remember that? They were all into the Ouija board. Ouija, are you with me? Come again. If you ask me, this is something that was brought on by Eazy-E. Eazy-E was one of those guys who knew America's hot buttons. Eazy-E was walking around at times with pentagrams, Satan symbols, because he knew that got people talking. So I think it was easy, if you ask me, knowing what I know about Eazy-E, knowing about his history. Eazy was probably the one that got him into the artwork, the symbolism, the Ouija board stuff. Hey, make everybody... It was like trolling back then. There was no internet or anything, so you had to do things to get people talking. And Bone Thugs ran with that. Once people started saying they worship the devil, they ran with that. But like many successful artists during the 90s, these conspiracy theories followed them for years. I wanted Krayzie Bone to address those rumors directly. Did Bone Thugs and Harmony worship the devil?
Rumor had it for a while. Y'all was on the Ouija board and some hoodoo type shit. What's up with that?
No, man, like people like the whole Ouija board thing, man, was something we did when we was young kids. You know what I'm saying? Like we played that like when we was young kids, and that was that. It's just something we experimented with. We didn't like stay into it. We didn't like become devil worshippers off it. We was just curious as little kids.
How did you feel coming into the game with a smooth, laid back, harmonic, melodic type of flow in an era when everyone was super hardcore, gangsta, rough, tough, and rugged? Were you guys reluctant to come out with that type of style at the time?
Man, at first we didn't even realize what we was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like it all came from like, you know, we did so many ciphers and was used to each other rapping so much, we knew each other verses. So when we would do our ciphers, when one person was rapping, the other four would be like ad-libbing, but it sounded like we was harmonized. People started telling us like, "Yo, it sound like y'all like the Rapping Temptations or some shit." You know what I'm saying? Like, so we started like just rapping in the hood, and like that's what people started telling us. And like, you know, we even did some talent shows in Cleveland, man, and we was doing like, we actually performed the song Ouija that we put on our first album, and we got gong like a mother. And it was like, it was like, get that Oriental sounding shit up out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy, but we wasn't never reluctant, man, because we was always confident because we knew what we was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like we wasn't talking about like we was singing, but we wasn't singing no soft shit.
Bone Thugs earned respect across the entire rap industry, not just from the West Coast, not just from the Midwest, everywhere. That meant crossing paths with East Coast legends as well. Two of those names were Fat Joe and the late Big Pun, R.I.P. Both became icons in New York hip-hop. But first impressions are always interesting. I asked Krayzie about meeting Fat Joe and Big Pun and what those experiences were like. Here's his story. So you knew Big Pun before he blew up?
Yeah, man, we knew Fat Joe like before. Like Fat Joe was the first artist in the game that we connected with. Like Fat Joe and Tretch and Ben from Naughty Nature, it's like they were some of the first ones like we like really connected with and like stayed down with this whole time. So Fat Joe always been the homie. We knew Big Pun before he even had his deal, before he even heard Big Pun. He was Punisher. He was Punisher back then, you know, and like man, he was always the homie, man. Always the homie. Always had nothing but love. We was actually in New York when we heard he passed away for the interview, and we stopped the interview, went over to his family's house and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like that same day, so it was crazy.
What was your most memorable moment with Eazy-E?
Man, just him calling us back, like not knowing us, like, you know what I'm saying, at all. That don't happen. Like he actually called us back because his assistant or whatever at the time was like, I guess she got tired of us calling the office all day long. And she made sure Eazy called us back that day, and he actually called us back, and he rapped for him on the phone, and it was crazy. That's when it all started right there.
What do y'all call that style, man? Is anything in particular?
Man, we just call it Bone style. Like, for real.
Okay.
One reason Bone Thugs and Harmony continue to resonate with fans is because their story goes beyond hit records. It's about 5 young men from Cleveland who created a sound that influenced generations of artists. Whether it's debates over their musical influences, stories about Tupac, the challenges Flesh and Bone faced, or clearing up decades-old rumors, they're always another chapter to their history. A huge thank you to Krayzie Bone for taking the time to share these stories and provide his perspective. Thank you for tuning in to DustyVisionTV. Please hit that like button if you have not already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, you just might appreciate this bonus clip I'm about to play for you right now. What's your relationship like with Suge Knight today?
Me and Suge today are very good friends, and I'm doing his life story and his movie.
Back up, hold on, back up. You said you and Suge are very good friends today?
As a matter of fact, he called me from jail today.
Wow, what did he have to say?
Like I said, we're doing his life story, death row, and his life story, and we're doing his movie. We just finished the script, and we're going to be going out there. If you Google it, you'll see it.
Okay. So you executive producer, or you finance, or what's your role?
Well, I guess you can say I was the one that got the rights to it, and then put a team together to put everything together. And now we're got the script done, and we're shopping it around to do a movie.
The fact that Suge Knight and Mike Klein are friends today, not just friends, but business partners, is crazy. Because back in the day, many said that this is the only man that Suge Knight truly feared. Mike Klein, head of Ruthless Records Security and Business Affairs. Many people have said that this is the only guy that Suge Knight trembled in his boots over, kept him up at night. Because up until then, Suge was running rampant on the industry. Not only that, he was going into Ruthless Records offices, turning over tables, demanding meetings with Jerry Heller, showing up with his boys, pulling out things, you know what I mean? And when Jerry brought Mike Klein around, yeah, a lot of that pretty much ceased immediately, right away. And I like that because I don't like bullies. I like the people who stand up to the bully. And let's keep it real. Sucks where Suge Knight is. I'm not trying to kick a man down when he's kick a man while he's down, but Suge Knight was a bully. He was a straight up bully. But man, they were arch nemesis back then. And here they are doing a project together. Yeah, Suge Knight is one of those stories that it's sad that Suge couldn't sit his ass down. Now, they forced him to sit his ass down, and he is sitting down for a very, very long time. But Suge had the world in his hands. A company worth $500 million. The greatest rappers on his label. But he lost it all because he couldn't sit his ass down and enjoy his rewards. And let that be a lesson to a lot of you, man. No matter how big or small, no matter what you have, whether it's big or small, if you have a multi-million-dollar business or a business that makes $1,000 a month, treat that with respect and sit your ass down. Suge Knight is going to go down as one of those stories that, I don't know, perplexing. I can't think of the word to describe the Suge Knight story, but at the end of the day, it's sad. It's sad that this man in 1995 was the biggest thing on the planet, and now he is sitting in some person's prison cell for 27 years. But it's all his doing. Let that be a lesson learned. But what do you guys think of this interview with Mike Klein, Ruthless Records head of security and business affairs? I really enjoyed this interview. I really appreciated this man's knowledge and what he knew about Ruthless Records, what he knew about Jerry Heller, Eazy-E. This man is a wealth of information when it comes to what was going on during those times at one of the biggest, best record labels that is going to go down in history as one of the greatest. Ruthless Records. Eazy-E, Bone Thugs and Harmony. When it comes to hip-hop, it doesn't get that much bigger. And this man was there for all of that. Since we're speaking earlier about Straight Outta Compton, you know that movie did have a lot of holes in it, right? It was, in fact, 100% factual. Everyone I know who is involved in that movie tells me there are parts of the movie that are just falsified or Hollywooded up, right? But one thing that we can all agree on is that Eazy-E is no longer with us, right? In the movie and in real life, it was said that he passed of the virus we know as AIDS. Right? I've interviewed many people, and I know many people personally, including, I keep name dropping my dude Alonzo Williams, but Alonzo Williams does not sit well with him that Eazy passed so fast from that.
I also remember when I heard Eazy had AIDS, okay? And Eazy found out he had AIDS on a Thursday. He was dead 2 weeks later. Magic had HIV, and he's still with us today. So people always ask me about that thing with Eazy, man. And I'm always like, you know what, dude? I've seen a few different celebrities die from AIDS, and I've seen how long it took. I saw how they looked as they were going through it. They definitely had a deterioration look about it. But nowadays, you know, when Eazy had it, last time I saw Eazy was about 3 or 4 weeks before he went to the hospital, and his brother was healthy as me and you. So I don't know what happened. I can't speak on it like that, not on camera for damn show. But it just makes you really wonder what's really going on.
It doesn't sit well with Lonzo and a lot of other people that no one has came out after Eazy's passing with the same disease.
Me, man, I'm gonna always believe somebody shot him up with that shit, man. But it's like, cause nobody catch AIDS and die the way Eazy-E did. He the first case I ever heard of. You find out you got AIDS one day and then in 2 weeks you dead, man.
Yeah.
You know, and Eazy-E was always healthy. He lost no weight. He looked like he would go to the gym. That's how he looked, all buff and shit, man. You know, and he showed no signs of that. AIDS don't kill you like that. AIDS is like a disease that eats at you, eats and eats and eats. There ain't nothing of you left, and then you die, man. None of that kind of shit happened to Eazy, man. You know, I believe somebody shot him up with that shit myself, man. If I was a detective, I would look for a doctor that was living in the valley, and now all of a sudden he living in the mountains looking down on everybody. That's the type of motherfucker I'll be looking for, you know. You know what I'm saying? No, that's the type of I'll be looking for, because they got to upgrade some kind of way for taking Eazy out from somebody, man. You know, that's just my opinion, man, because, you know, I done had a lot of friends die with AIDS, and I just saw them deteriorate into nothingness, man. And that did not happen to Eazy, man.
Not sitting well with a lot of people. It hasn't then, and it still doesn't now.
I ain't never seen nobody die that fast, like from AIDS. Wherever Eazy, I think, was given AIDS.
Well, Kid Frost few years back. Time is flying so fast, I can't even remember when it was, but Kid Frost recently, you know, went viral for making comments that he believes Eazy was possibly stuck with something, maybe.
No girl has ever came forward saying that they got the AIDS virus from Eazy or taint thing. I'm gonna tell you what happened with Eazy getting AIDS, and I believe this to this day. And I don't care if you guys got it on film. You could tell the world. They gave him tainted needles with acupuncture needles that tainted him, and gave it to him because he got hurt in Honda Valley on quad runners, and he was riding quads. And what happened is that someone, I won't say the name, but people know the name. I don't want to say that name because it's a devil's name. But, you know, another person in rap, if you know your history of rap, calls him a devil. So if you know your history in rap or West Coast rap, you'll know who I'm saying. But I was told, even in the last conversation from Eazy, not to even talk to that man. And not only that, but I think that they really had a stronghold of giving him tainted needles with the AIDS virus in them through acupuncture. Because how else could somebody die that fast of AIDS? Have you even heard of somebody dying in 2 weeks of AIDS, bro? Come on, man. This is unheard of, bro. It was like, I'm in the hospital, I contracted the AIDS virus. 2 weeks later, March 26th or whatever, I fall out and I die.
So I don't know. Comment down below. What do you think? What do you think about the passing of Eazy-E? Do you think it was some funny business? Or do you think they had it right on? Because I've heard both. But mostly I've heard people think, especially the ones that were around him, that it was funny business.
He definitely was the godfather of gangster rap. And still to this day, man, there's not a lot of records that I've even heard, even now, that really can hold water to those earlier days of Dre and Eazy and them. And at that time, especially with the Straight Outta Compton, and, you know, I mean, who didn't have that record from here to Miami? You know what I mean? Big records, man. I'll always be a part of the Ruthless family because of that. I'll always be the first Mexican that ever got signed to Ruthless Records.
Eazy was no rapper whatsoever. He was the one funding this whole thing. Eazy was trying to get out of the dope game, man. He didn't want to be no rapper.
Eazy was my first success story. When Eazy wanted to get in, Eazy followed me around. We would ride around in my car, or he would follow me to McCullough. He would ride around with me to various places to get his initial Ruthless stuff done. The Ruthless logo. You look at that Ruthless logo and look at anything from Crew Cut, it's the same style. Why? It was done by the same guy, Daryl Davis. Daryl Davis was my graphic designer at that time. I took Eazy over to Daryl Davis's house and he got the logo made. I introduced him to McCullough. I introduced him to Greg Mack. When he first made Boys in the Hood, it wasn't going to get played. I told him it wasn't going to get played, but Greg Mack had to convince him, hey man, you got to clean it up, blah, blah, blah. And I also introduced him to Jerry Heller. So when you think about our relationship, and like I said, you know, he took all your artists. He didn't take nothing. You can't make a whole stay if she want to leave. Okay, simple as that. And that's just how the game goes. You can't make somebody leave. He took what I built, my formula, and improved it, and made it better, made it work for him.
So Eazy was living in Compton at the time, obviously. And most would say he was a Kelly Park hustler. He was a dope dealer, and he was allegedly trying to get out of that game, trying to go legit. And he had some talented people around him. He knew Dre, and Dre knew other people, and he saw something that very few people see. He saw the future. He knew that with him and Dre together, and whoever Dre can bring in the fold, something could happen. With him funding it and Dre being the music mastermind, you know what I mean? So Dre and Eazy go to Alonzo's club, Eve After Dark in Compton. My man Alonzo Williams, I'm telling y'all, he had his hand in this rap game. You guys just don't know. So they go to Alonzo because they know Alonzo has the connections. You know, I think Dre brought Eazy to Alonzo, if my story serves me correctly.
Just a little short dude wearing a t-shirt, some jeans, wanted to come to Eve After Dark. And I'm like, dude, at that time, the Eve was I ain't gonna say high class, but it was an upscale teen spot. You know, we had a dress code. You had to wear college shirts, dress shoes. You know, we're talking about the 80s, man, the 81, 82. And the dress code of the streets was totally different. You had your thug wear, of course, but for the most part, if you want to go to a party that was about anything, you had to step your game up. And he didn't want to do it at the time. He's like, oh, man, I got to do that to come in here. Dre did, but he didn't. And I purposely made his ass stand outside and let Dre up just to piss him off. And you know, he eventually came around. But he didn't come to the Eve that much. He came to the Eve a few times, but he came to Dudos a lot more. Dudos was in the city of Compton. Eve was around the corner, and the Eve was more in a different neighborhood. And I guess he may have felt comfortable coming over there, although they were both the same colors. But Eve was more. I mean, Dudos was more in the in the city of Compton.
And that was the beginning of NWA. Eazy-E meets Jerry Heller, and that's all she wrote. Ruthless Records.
Jerry Heller came to the picture, man. Everybody was at McCullough. McCullough was a big distributor out on Santa Monica Boulevard, and when we got too big for our first manufacturing company, which was Bill Smith Custom Records out in El Segundo, this cat named Duffy Hooks had put McCullough up on the distribution game. Well, we got all these artists coming through McCullough, and Jerry Heller was a former booking agent. Mm-hmm. So he figured at some point in time he can get lucky, and he would post up in McCullough and just talk to the cats as they come through there. And if you had a hit record, he talked to Don, the guy who owned McCullough, who got the hit record, and then he'd go get in your ear. He got it in Egypt, he got it in LA Dream Team. He got it at me first, but I didn't want to sign to him because as soon as he got it at me, CBS called me up, hey man, we got some money for you. And I'm like, what the fuck I need him for if I got check waiting on me already? Mm-hmm. So me and my lawyer cut the deal, but he was still around because he knew we was good to go. And once we signed to CBS, we had a little money issue with the union. Jerry came in and fixed that for us, and then Dre and Yella and everybody was like, "Oh, we need to sign Jerry. We signed to Jerry." Meanwhile, Eazy is hearing all this shit. Mm-hmm. So we signed to Jerry Heller, and then Eazy wanted to meet him. I put them two together, and like I said, you know, again, that was one of the things I never thought was going to work, but what the fuck do I know?
But back to Boys in the Hood. So they're in the studio, and by all accounts, Eazy literally had to do hundreds of takes.
I remember Dre stressing about who was going to rap on this song, and I remember blatantly just belligerently saying, Eric need to be the one, Eric need to be the one, Eric need to be the one, Eric need to be the one. And then I left shortly after because I was a street dude. I was making moves in the street still. So for me to spend an hour in the garage, for me that was way too long. But over and over again, I constantly preached that Eric needed to be the one, and I knew it years before that garage incident ever took place. I would tell him all the time.
Eazy literally did the song line by line. So he'd do a line, And then Dre would stop recording. He'd do a line, the second line, and Dre would stop recording. And Dre pieced that song together line by line.
Cruising down the street in my 6'4". That ain't it. Hey, just say the words, all right? What does that mean? Man, just say the shit with me, all right? Cruising. Cruising? Yeah, cruising. Let's go. Dre, you know this shit ain't gonna never work.
All right, you trying to be funny. But you see how you said that shit, right? Like you believe it?
Yeah, I believe that shit.
Then say this shit like you believe it, man. Like it's a motherfucking Sunday and you cruising down Crenshaw in a motherfucking 6'4". Come on, say that shit like you believe it, man. Like it's your words. Feel that shit. Stop playing around. Loosen the fuck up. There you go.
Cruising down the street in my 6'4".
Oh, shit. Hey, that was dope, eh? That shit was dope, man. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
If anybody knows about 1980s editing and recording, that's not easy. That's not easy. Nowadays, you have your mixing board and your laptop, and it's all right here in one thing. It wasn't easy back then to do that. They had reels and things like that. They had to cut and stop and this. There were no computers and all of this. Dre didn't have all them computers and shit. So just to think that Dre did that just shows early on what a master he is. If you could piece a song, you know, he says, woke up quick at about noon. Stop. Record. Just thought that I had to be in Compton soon. Stop. Record. I gotta get drunk before the day begins, before my mother starts bitching about my friends. Stop. Okay, record. About to go when damn near went blind. Stop. I mean, that's literally what it was. That apparently, allegedly, according to folklore, that's how the song was created. And I just find that so cool and so amazing, dude. But if you listen to it nowadays, you cannot even tell. It sounds like he did it all in one take, and that's a long song. It's like a 5-minute song or something like that if you think about it. You mentioned combat. You are a combat veteran, and first off, I want to thank you for your service. You know, whenever I'm at a bar or a restaurant or something, and I see someone with the veteran hat, I buy them a drink. Shit, if I got paid that day, I might buy the whole meal. You know, at the least, I will walk to them and thank them, you know, for their service, because that's the reason why I'm able to do what I'm doing right now on my podcast. People like you went to war to fight for our freedom, and everyone out there. So always much respect. But I would love to talk about that for our last segment. Your time in the military, 29 years old is late, but you did see combat. So by your age, I did the math. I'm assuming it was the around 2004. Was it the second Iraq situation? Right.
It's, actually, by then, it was OIF 07, 08. We had been there for some years. By then, 9/11 hit in 01.
That's right.
So, and they were going by year by year. I got there in 06, 07.
You joined the Army, right?
Yeah, I joined the National Guard and volunteered for active duty on.
Okay.
That starts with this is another teachable moment for the youngsters. If you want to do something different, you got to do something different. If you want something drastic to change, you have to initiate the drastic change. Mm-hmm. So we talking 10 years of homelessness from 92 to 2002, and by the time I'm 25, I've got 3 kids with 2 women. By the time I'm 27, I have 4 kids with 3 women. I got Ajane, Taylor, James, and Jalen, and their mothers, Simone, Annette, and Katrina, don't take no shit. They want that money. They tired of being broke, and they all looking at me.
Yeah.
They all looking at me. My family sitting there saying, you better not make no more kids, because you ain't going to be able to make. Something had to change. At the time, I'm totally unemployed, catching that same bus, homeless. I'm living in shelter, sleeping in the backseat of my father's truck. All is lost. Same grandma telling me it's my fault because of God. Her ass ain't making it no better. She ain't helping. She got the most money in the family, can help it with one decision, and left me fucking homeless for 10 years so I could find God. That lady is a mother. Yeah, love her to death. Best decision she ever made was letting me figure it out.
Tough love right there. Damn.
That lady say, you can't, I'm not going to give you no money. You can come here if you absolutely have to. But she was in Oklahoma at the time. So one morning, I'm at the EDD building in Inglewood, Manchester, and La Brea. That was the routine. I'm sleeping in the backseat of my father's truck. I got to get up, find a job. But I'm doing plumbing jobs. I got a trade. I'm working with my cousin. This is my connection to Compton. My cousin is from Eastside Compton, connections to Looters Park Mob. When the 92 riots hit, instead of looting TVs and appliances, they looted plumbing equipment. A lot of those guys still got plumbing businesses to this day. Yeah, my cousin he was a G. So he was doing plumbing in the hood, teaching me how to clean drains, unclog toilets, change faucets, do main sewer lines and all that. So I was making $20 a week helper's pay. That's why I was looking for a job. Cousin was just doing me all kind of wrong, going all up in me. But anyway, that's hood shit. Hood niggas do what niggas do. And if I don't catch it, much like the music business, I signed up for it. If I don't catch it, it's on me. So one day I'm in the unemployment office waiting on a computer. Shout out to everybody that's in between jobs working at the unemployment office. Keep going, guys. Got your back. Do not lose the faith. Don't make a stupid move. Keep going faith to faith. I'm at the unemployment office. And the damn National Guard recruiter's assistant, not even the recruiter, this dude, little bitty 5'6" dude from Sri Lanka, can barely speak fucking English. He don't know I'm 28 years old, but he's trying to recruit me. I seen the same dude every day trying to get me to join the National Guard and shit. And I'm laughing at this fool. Like, dude, you better go get one of them kids from Inglewood High. I'm past recruiting. I'm not doing this. One day, he stops me and says, dude, I see you in there every day. How would you like to make $20,000? They had this signing bonus program going on, which I would not eventually get. I popped out for weed, didn't get the bonus, but I went. Kids, don't be a me. Don't take 30 fucking years and have to go around the globe to hear what the hell God was trying to tell you when you was fucking born. Don't be a me, even though it does work. You don't want to have all the problems. So he says, hold on, because I laughed at him. He said, dude, I'm 28. I'm in here to get a job. I got kids already. Fuck you and the National Guard. He says, hold on. I got somebody needs you to talk to. I'm going to call my boss. He calls the recruiter, who's a 6'3" Filipino from Eastside Long Beach, one of my best friends to this day. His name is Sergeant Kenneth. He's almost a master sergeant, about to be retired. His name is Kenneth Kenny. He walks in and proceeds to tell me his story, and I was hooked. I joined the National Guard, but I'm still homeless. I get into a fight with my girlfriend at the time, and she's talking about money. I ain't got no kids with her, and she's all in my pocket. That day, I called Sergeant Kenny and said, put me on the fucking deployment list. I'm done with this bitch. She thought I was playing. I didn't think Ken would do it. You know, 2 days later, the motherfucker called me back and said, you're going to Iraq. But I had gone to basic training, got honor grad at 28, 29 years old. I had excelled, but I was back home doing the the weekend warrior thing, 1 week in a month, 2 weekends, 2 weeks out of the summer. But that ain't enough for a grown ass man with 4 kids. You got to do something. So an argument with my girlfriend while I was just fresh home from basic training made me call Ken and say, man, fuck it. The unit he went to Cuba with, he served in Guantanamo Bay right after 9/11 as a prison guard. The unit he went to Cuba with, to Gitmo with, was deploying to Iraq. He said, hey, this is your best shot. I know these guys. It's field artillery. I went to the MOS he went, and I went to Fort Sill where he went, and it seemed only right. And my grandmother was at Oklahoma. She drove her blind ass to graduation through a blizzard. That old lady was tough. But I volunteered for Iraq. It all stemmed from wanting to having them 4 babies, mom's side of the family not helping. They picked baby mamas. The women in my family picked which baby mama they liked the most. Totally ignored that I love them all, and I got to take care of all these motherfuckers, the women and damn kids. They totally ignored it. So mom and sis, they like baby mama number 1. Dad took to baby mama number 2, but baby mama number 2 totally used him for the money, so he ended up reverting back to baby mama number 1. They all left baby mama number 3 hanging out to dry. That's Jalen, the one I was living with homeless when I joined the military. So Annette, this all stems behind, I'm about to change this shit. The whole army, I tell people all the time, I didn't join because I was a patriot. I was turned into a patriot behind all the great guys I served with. Behind going outside the wire every night and wearing that American flag on your sleeve, knowing if anybody see that flag on your sleeve, they're gonna shoot at you. Leading the platoon in prayer. By the time we was halfway through the deployment, the platoon sergeant stopped sending for the chaplain used to come out and lead us in prayer every night. But they saw me walking around with my Bible. I'm taking anagram everywhere with me by this point. Every scripture she ever. By the time I got to the sandbox, she didn't have to tell me shit about the Bible. I was memorizing all that shit. Because they'll tell you in training, the next sound you hear will be boom. But that's where it started. They turned me into a patriot, and then I started seeing the American people. Like, damn, we serve so you guys can start your podcast, so you guys can go turn up. So it's free. So we fight the wars over there, so we don't have to fight them here. So our peoples can, if we gonna squabble, we can squabble without nobody coming and cutting your head off. In other countries, if you hit a certain person, you might get your head cut off.
Yeah, you smoke weed and you do life in prison down there in some places.
Yeah, man. So it gave me an appreciation for the people, for my exes. Believe it or not, for racist white folks. I served with racist white folks who didn't know that black folks wasn't dumb. They've been taught their whole life, but we've been 3/5 of a human.
I got to hear that story. Break that down if you don't mind. I got to hear that story.
I'm at the chow hall with an older dude, 3-time veteran, whose father served in Nam, where it was really cracking with the racism going down. And he tells me this Bubba Gump ass story about the black guy who's a cook who ended up having, he didn't know he had a bachelor's degree. This dude broke down and told me how a black man made him look stupid because he thought he was stupid. And the dude ended up being, he was from Arkansas. He went to Arkansas University, he was a bachelor. He was studying to go to the OCS, Officers Candidate School. And this dude was a staff sergeant behind on child support. He was going through it. And the only thing he had on him was that he was white. And when he got to talking to him, he say, I can help you. Dude ended up helping him get out of debt and shit, and they ended up being close friends. Ain't been a racist, but he was raised to believe that we some dumb niggas. And then he ran across a bunch of smart niggas in the military. So he felt bad. He felt like one meal at the chow hall with a conversation with a guy younger than him, and he spilled the beans. My best friend is black. Let me tell you how it started. You catch some Vietnam guys on the right day, and you'll get a good earful. The Nam guys are pretty cool now.
Yeah. I love talking to older cats, man, respectfully, and just learning new stories. And I wish more younger kids would talk to older cats who's 70, 75, 80. You know what I mean? Because these dudes have seen some stuff. And in this country specifically, they've seen this country go from, what used to be the American dream to, it's the American nightmare and everything in between, man. I encourage younger cats to talk to older people, man.
Hey, that's a good game from OG Dusty Vision youngsters to his audience. Be curious. Be a truth seeker. There's some hidden stories that we didn't get to take pictures. Our phones had to stay connected to the wall with a long ass cord. The richest of us had a machine that would pick up for us, and we could come and push a button and hear somebody that left a message, but we didn't get to carry them around in our pockets. You guys, if you was born in 92, 91, 92, the years we talking about, if you was born in 92, the world was just different, yo. Do your Googling and just go start with your birthday in your city. What was the headline in your city the day you were born? And start there. You can get a lot about what happened. You'll find out about the counterintelligence program. You'll find out about the president that said that the Black Panther Party was the worst thing that could happen to the biggest threat to American way of life. Or you'll find out about Oliver North, who was very intricate with the Freeway Ricky Ross case when the Iran-Contra war was going on and drugs were flooded into the cities of America, the urban cities of America. You got to go do some research because Oliver North got a TV show or something that he came out of it okay. Rick Ross had to do a bid and learn how to read and get himself out of jail. And the guy that snitched on him doing well. That's South Central LA history connected directly to the United States government at the highest levels. Military officers, wars, who's financing what, who paid for what, and who we gonna get to be the scapegoat. So it's out there for you, youngsters. It's out there for you. Your friendly neighborhood team chaplain got your motherfucking back. I'm always praying for y'all. Just like these Rich and Ruthless cats, just like these Death Row cats, just like Dusty Vision, just like Big A. There's one person left that's interceding for all y'all. We all got to get it right. That's the team chopping.
I love that, bro. I love that. Tell me what you got going on, man. Let's wrap it up. What you got going on? Promote anything. Give your shout outs, man. The floor is yours, and take as long as you want.
Man, much love to Arnold Big A White. Rest in peace to Anna Grant. The bio and the music is up at MrJFrazier.com. The reason the music comes out so slowly with me is because y'all got to get it. When you get Who Am I? Work in Progress, The Wall, Don't Cry, God Is By Your Side, the new single Judge You Not with Baby E. Shout out to the beautiful wife that I haven't seen. I appreciate that. We want to pump that too. I got a plan for a video and a short film centered around that. But it's not about self-promotion, man. God is going to provide my increase. I want the people to pump that Rich and Ruthless movement, the legacy of Eazy-E. I want y'all to pray for the reconciliation of what's going on over there on the death row side. And most importantly, you, the listener, help my man Dusty Vision out. This is not about me. I appreciate all of the support. Anybody that goes and spends that 99 cents on those songs, I appreciate it. And I pray that God multiply you as well. But this go round in this music industry thing is not about me. Big A chose the new gospel rap artist because we're going to set a standard about love and edification. And over there on the Rich and Ruthless side, Compton Musa, Latoya Lane, Kiki Smooth, Baby Easy, Little Easy, and everybody associated with the movement over there. Big A, what he's doing with Dog Pound Records. Shout out to Daz and Corrupt for letting me take a couple of pictures and get a couple of photo ops. And then most definitely over there on the Boss Dog side with the Death Row side. Much love and always praying for everybody, including Simon, including Snoop, including Rez, the whole crew. There's one person left just saying, let's get it together, y'all.